Let us go ahead and add some more complexity to our previous program. We are going to modify a program to print the sum and average of all the elements in the array. In order to do this, we clearly require two new variables, sum. Since all the numbers are integers, the sum of all integers is also going to be an integer. So I'm going to declare sum as an integer value. The average, on the other hand, can be a floating point value. We may end up getting up decimal point values. Now, instead of simply printing the numbers, I need to find the average and sum of these numbers. Let me initialize the value of sum to 0 at the beginning. Initially, I read all the numbers using the for loop, and then I need to find the sum of all the numbers. The value of sum is calculated as the previous value of sum plus the array elements. Since we are iterating through each and every element of the array using the for loop, every element can be accessed as array of I. During the first iteration, it will be array of 0. During the second iteration of the for loop, it will be array of I, and so on. We are going to add every element of the array to the value of sum. To make things clearer, let me add a printf statement over here. After every intermediate computation of the sum, let me just print out the value to make things much more clearer for you all. Once the value of sum is computed, average can be computed. Average is nothing but the total sum of the values of the array divided by the total number of elements in the array. So average is computed as sum divided by total number of elements, that is 5. Once we have computed both the values, the last step is to print the contents to the screen. Final sum is equals to %d and average will be %.2f. 0.2f because we want to restrict to 2 decimal spaces only. The variables are sum and average. Now let me execute this program. It prompts me to enter 5 numbers. Let me enter the 5 numbers and enter. Now you can see that the for loop has executed 5 times. At the beginning, the value of sum is 0. Then the first number is added to it. So sum becomes 4. Then the second number is added to 4. It becomes 12. 12 plus 1 is 13. 13 plus 2 is 15. 15 plus 7 is 22. In this way, intermediate sum, the value of sum is updated during every iteration of the for loop, finally resulting in the value of sum being 22. And the average is 4. 22 divided by 5 is actually 4.4, but we did not get the accurate value. The reason for this is sum is an integer value, pi is also an integer. Integer by integer results in an integer value. So in order to get the correct output, we need to update one of these to a floating point value. This process is called as typecasting. Temporarily, I am going to convert sum into a floating point value. So float divided by integer results in a floating point value. Let us run this program again. Now the final sum is 19 and we have got the correct output for our average as well. This is how we can make use of for loop to read numbers into an array and perform some computations on them. The best way to work with array elements is to go for loop. Very rarely we tend to use while loop or any other methods. Most of the times we make use of for loops to perform operations on the contents of the array. In the next videos, we'll take a look at some more complicated examples related to arrays.